A very good afternoon to one and all. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to this panel discussion on rethinking workplace flexibility and employee experience during COVID times. So, workplace flexibility has been long touted as the oxygen of women's careers. But in 2020, COVID 19 struck, the pandemic struck, and the world as we knew it changed. All companies across industries, across sectors embraced flexible working as an alternate model of work, more so for business continuity planning. Even as we tide over the second wave and we have 1.5 years of the COVID 19 pandemic through us, companies are rethinking their workplace flexibility offerings. From hybrid work models to fluid working, engaging with gig workers, many interesting models are emerging. With a distributed workforce, geographically distributed, working across geographies, countries, companies are also reimagining their initiate engagement and inclusion. Again, there are several innovative and exciting solutions that are emerging to heighten the employee experience. On this panel, we have three very eminent leaders who will share their thoughts, perspectives, and practices from their organizations and share their vision on how they think the future is going to pan out to be. Without much further ado, it's my pleasure to welcome the very first speaker on this panel, Mr. Ashish Garg, Global Business HR Leader, Microland Limited. He is an HRCI certified professional in HR and has several papers published to his credit, including Skill Matrix, an approach to employee development and performance measurement, which was published in the Sapphire newsletter sent to HR heads in India and abroad. This was also given as a key takeaway to participants of the 4th National HR Conference. He has also worked on the competency assessment and development presented at national level HR conference. It's my pleasure to welcome you, Ashish, to this panel, and over to you for a few opening remarks from your end.
Thank you. Thank you, Anju. Anju, first of all, I must thank Avtar and your entire group for organizing this panel discussion. I think this is very close to each of our hearts, and we feel very excited to be here and being part of this panel. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ashish. So I now move on to the second speaker to introduce Mr. Santosh Madiraju, Senior Director, Head HR at Gap Inc. Technology Center. Mr. Santosh has over 23 years of experience in strategic HR in technology and financial services industry. He is results driven with deep business focus in leading HR strategy for the organizations. Mr. Santosh is passionate about driving change and transformation in the intersection between individual excellence and organizational performance. With experience in designing and setting up HR systems, policies, and programs, offshore development centers, he has overseen 2 mergers and acquisitions and was the strategic lead for transitions. In the span of 24 years, Mr. Santosh has led key HR functions like talent acquisition, HR business partner, compensation and benefits, and learning and development. He's a certified Gallup Strengths coach, Neuro Leadership Results coach, MBTI practitioner, and social styles trainer and practitioner. His key areas of expertise include strategic HR leadership with deep expertise in talent strategy, compensation and benefits performance management, transformation and change management, mergers and acquisition, and leadership coaching. It would be our pleasure to hear from you, Mr. Santosh, some opening remarks for this panel.
Thank you so much, Anju, for the opportunity. I'm really thrilled to be part of this panel discussion, and so great to meet Ashish and Vasudha. Looking forward to a very fascinating topic, and which is a perfect topic for the times we are in. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Santosh. We look forward to hearing from all of you as well. Last but not the least, it's my pleasure to introduce our third panelist for the day, Ms. Vasudha Pandurangi, Director Analytics, Ford Motors Private Limited. Vasudha is Director Global Data Insight and Analytics at Ford Motor Private Limited. She leads the Smart Mobility Analytics portfolio in Chennai. She also leads the Women of Ford ERG for Ford Business Services in India. Vasudha has been with Ford since 2011 and has led various data science teams, including Ford Credit and Marketing Sales and Service. Vasudha has close to 2 decades of experience in data science in various domains like healthcare, financial services, and automotive. Prior to joining Ford, she has led data science teams at Dun and Bradstreet and has been a data scientist at Genpact and Novartis India. Vasudha holds a master's degree in statistics from Madras Christian College, Chennai. It's my pleasure to welcome you, Ms. Vasudha, to this August panel, and over to you for a few opening remarks from your end.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Anju. Very happy to be here. Very happy to meet Ashish, Santosh, and the entire Avtar team. We've had at Ford, we've had a great partnership with Avtar. So thanks for such a topical panel discussion that we're really looking forward to. So thanks.
Thank you, Vasudha. And I'm fascinated by the gender diversity on this panel. So we really have a 50-50, kind of a discussion. And I'm sure that will add to the organic perspectives that are going to flow in the next 45 minutes or so. So my first question is on how do you think professionals of today, men, women, the entire gender spectrum included, can actually utilize the changing paradigms of flexibility to successfully design their careers? That's my first question. Any one of you can kind of take the question first. Over to you.
Okay. Probably Anju, I can go with that. And we spoke about the gender mix that we have here, so I'm just going ladies first here. It's very interesting times, Anju. Probably some 15 months ago, none of us even expected, that we're going to be in this kind of situation almost on the fly overnight. Probably, most organizations had to take this call, and we all went virtual. Initially, we did have some inhibitions in terms of how it is going to be, but we are here 15 months later. We probably are all doing fine. Of course, we did have our set of initial hiccups. We definitely did get through that. Coming to think of, what could be, things in future that we can think of coming out of this experience in terms of career progression, I would say very fundamentally, for a lot of people to stay put in workforce itself, I would say this flexible working has really opened doors. I would say starting with that, a lot of people, especially women, go through life stage transitions, could be relocation due to their personal requirements or childcare needs or whatever might be the the circumstances. A lot of people tend to rethink about staying put in their own jobs. I think that I would say is the biggest benefit that we have. People now can probably experiment with, even despite whatever challenges they might have, if the primary reason has been the face time, the commute, the working hours. I think that's really come as a blessing now with this flexible working, where we're able to really reimagine, how we, sustain being in a job as an individual. How do people sustain being in their jobs, and as an organization, how do we really retain our workforce, talented workforce, so that we don't really lose them? I think with that very fundamental requirement, I would say being met, I think now we've been able to reimagine how we want to utilize our workforce as organizations, right? In terms of, I would say, even for individuals, I would say in terms of some of the roles or opportunities, previously we thought were location dependent, were time zone dependent. Some of those opportunities we were not able to explore as organizations, and individuals also were not able to commit to certain kind of roles because travel was a requirement. Being a consultant means you have to be there. FaceTime was a requirement. I think all that is now almost like a myth busting. I'm not saying that we don't need collaboration, you don't need FaceTime, but at least a lot of that can still be done remotely as well. And 15 months is testimony to that fact. That's really opening up newer kind of opportunities that people can explore. And then in terms of the productivity gain, I think we've really seen some good success there, especially with the commute times not being there. I think we really have seen a positive impact on the productivity, I would say, as organizations. We have observed that, and we are seeing that. With, of course, people did have initial hiccups, adjusting to their be a personal schedule versus a work schedule. But I think people have found that balance, though none of us have mastered that yet. I think people have found that balance where people are able to explore new L&D opportunities. All those things definitely are a plus, is what I see coming out of this experience of 15 months.
Wonderful, wonderful thoughts, Vasudha. I think it's all about leveraging the opportunity, using it for sustainable career pathing. As that's what I'm able to understand from you. Great. So my question to you, Ashish, a slight tweak to the same question. So you are from an industry which probably had very robust, flexible working models even before COVID struck and all of that. So what are your perspectives? What do you think with everything going virtual and everything flexibility becoming an universal reality today, how do you think professionals can now leverage this to kind of build very sustainable, very purposeful careers going forward?
Thanks, Anju. And I think this is a very, very pertinent question. And what I was thinking while Vasudha was sharing her opinion was, I concur with her so much to the same thoughts. Uh, the way I look at how the careers are spanning out, I look at it from two perspectives. The first one is, the career is always looked at from the lens of an employee or the potential talent, you know and with the kind of elements that have come into play at work, right, in the past 15 months, we know that we are exploring new talent, the talent that we had not earlier explored, because we always had a possibility of getting an alternate talent earlier, right? So working moms, someone who wants to who knows that they only want to work 5 hours a week, 5 hours a day, or 4 hours a day. Someone who potentially only wants to work in a particular time zone. I can only work from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. I can only work from a Chandigarh or a Coorg, or in a particular location, and I cannot come down to Bangalore. I cannot work from office, uh, and that has opened immense possibilities for us to tap into the talent. And what career means for each of our workforce employees, each of these talents is very different. For someone, it's really growing up the ladder vertically. For someone, it's broadening their exposure, right? I'm a cloud expert. Can I get some insights into data analytics? And the new world has really provided that opportunity, and hence the definition of career itself has changed a lot. And that was my second point. So what we've seen, for example, in the past 15 months at Microland, primarily being an IT services organization and going into the IT infrastructure transformation, making digital happen for our clients. So we've seen that our ability to tap into the talent, uh, the right talent, has increased immensely, and I'm very upbeat about that, how this is very positively transformed our industry, right? And second is, with a robust career architecture that we are trying to put into place, in terms of what does career mean for each of these employees, based on their personal preferences, based on their location, based on the working model, the career aspirations, and then we are defining the career paths for each one of them. And I think as we move along, in the past 15 months has forced us to think about all those parameters, which earlier also would have happened, but would have probably taken, say, 5 years or 10 years or so. But in the past 15 months, we've been forced to think about that. And that's something that I'm very upbeat about. I think that, with that positive force that has forced us to think about the new career models, I think we are on the right path. And this is something that we have really started seeing in our day-to-day world. So at Microland, for example, we've really identified roles and started categorizing them into each of the categories. These roles, we definitely need people to be in office because of whatsoever reason, but these set of roles are partial work from office and only need based office. And these roles can be in the mode of say work from anywhere. We really do not want these people to come into office. With this comes in new challenges, right? How do you ensure that the entire workforce is integrated? How do you ensure that the decision making is more inclusive? How do you keep the employee engagement at a high level? How do you cater to the requirements of each of these talent segments, so that they're meeting their career aspirations? And that's a new challenge that I see is coming up, and we are quite optimistic about that we'll be able to find very good solutions around that.
Great, Ashish. In fact, I want you to hold on to that thought because that's a very important question that we would be addressing shortly. And I really like this perspective of horizontal versus vertical growth that you talked about, right? I think for professionals, the opportunity that there is, the universe of expanse is in fact wider than they thought it could be. It need not necessarily be that vertical ladder. I think COVID taught all of us that. Thank you for that thought. Ashish. And Santosh, I move on to you now. Given that Gap is actually known for establishing the first retail development technology development center in India, and the fact that this sector also operates with a lot of creativity, inbuilt into the system, how do you think the future is going to be, and how professionals in this sector, in this domain, can utilize flexibility to kind of construct very sustainable careers? Over to you for your thoughts, Mr. Santosh.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Anju, and great to hear Vasudha and Ashish and their thoughts and the ideas. So you're right. So we are in a space which is unprecedented and super challenging over the last 12 to 15 months. This is not easy, and the easiest way to understand is the very consumer behavior and the pattern has fundamentally changed. Right, in the last 15 months, each of us, how we buy, how we kind of look at our own managing our life situations has fundamentally changed, and retail as an industry touches the core of each of our lives in whatever form and shape, right? So one of the big things as a company that we have gone through, both from a business standpoint and from a culture standpoint, is that how do we switch to online, right? How do we switch to online in terms of meeting the demands of the customers? That was a huge experience. Earlier, people used to come into the physical stores and feel the material, feel the cloth, the denims or the hoodies, etc. But today, hey, you need to get onto the online and get that same feel and experience as a customer, right? So that was a huge learning opportunity, a learning moment, I would say, fundamentally for all of our engineers. How do you ensure that you gave the same seamless experience to a customer? And this is actually the fundamental challenge which our engineering talent is looking at as we speak today. And each of them are excited in that sense that there's so much of opportunity to create products, create innovation. And what is innovation today is very different from, say, 2-3 years back when we talked about different styles, the patterns, the countries, and people, what they wear, etc. And this is where the entire cloud journey comes in. This is where how we leverage technology in terms of the design. And one of our clear vision is that we are inclusive by design, right? Whatever we do into our products, it cuts across every segment of our customers. So that is where the technology center comes in. 3 big goals pretty much we have is that how do we be agile? How do we innovate and execute at speed? And then how do we stay relevant in an intensely competitive space? And that is the exciting part when we talk about careers in the engineering world and aligning to the retail. That is the exciting part, I would say, people getting that opportunity and see that impact, see that result pretty much on a day-to-day basis. So ours is a pretty much hitting every month in terms of our revenues, sales, etc. across the world. So in that sense, the engineers end user and customer getting that impact and the deliverable of the product is what excites, and that is where we see that there is a huge opportunity in shaping one's career, and there are no limits. So one of the things we, as a culture trait, we strongly push for is that try fast, learn fast, experiment, take risks, right? You are empowered to figure out how you want to do things. And we are in a knowledge economy, information economy, right? So in that sense, the people we hire and the people who work are fully empowered to come up with ideas. And that is the fundamental crux of the whole concept of flexibility, not just limiting to COVID times, but as a culture, how do we enable that across the talent segments? While hierarchy, the functional roles are there, it's important to nurture that in terms of ideation, because at the end of the day, ideas is what differentiates in terms of our competitive differentiator.
Thank you, Santosh. I think that's been profound. Inclusion by design and innovation by default. That's what I could gather. And you actually listed out probably the set of key important skills that people should have in their kitty if they are looking forward to creating sustainable careers. Thank you so much for that. So I now come back to this aspect of employee experience that we briefly touched upon, while we addressed the previous question. So I would ask you, Ashish, first to go. In terms of very innovative employee experience, in terms of ensuring that there is that feeling of belongingness and inclusion in your workforce, what are some of your initiatives over the last 1.5 years or so, Ashish?
Thanks, Sanju, for asking that. I feel very passionate about this specific area. This is so close to my heart. So a couple of years back, Anju, we had started on our digital journey, wherein we started off with something called Microland One app, which we believe has really helped us transition smoothly through this cutover phase. So we have this app, which is one place solution for everyone, and we are very much I think Netflix, for example, has proved to be our role model during this COVID days, right? So in Netflix, you can choose the content that you want to subscribe to. You can choose the areas, I want more notifications around that. I want customized information. We also did a couple of surveys internally, and we felt that there were certain set of employees who were feeling that, okay, while there is so much of information, so much of COVID updates, so much of places from where they're getting information, please get your vaccination here, do these things here, and we felt that people were getting overwhelmed by information overload. And it was very important for us to, one, be able to pass on the one-way communication, which was very important, which is really crucial for the organization to do this transition. Second, we also wanted people to be able to be their own masters of their career. The first part that you said, right? The first question. So I want more notifications around what's happening in this world. I want to get more feeds around that, just like a Facebook works, or a typical social media platform works, right? And the third one was, how can I engage in a two-way conversation? Can I interact with my colleagues now that I know that this person, I will not be meeting this person when I go to office, because I'm not going to office at all? How do I maintain that sense of belonging with the organization, with my peers and with my team? And can organization do something? Can we bring in some element of experience where the feeling of belongingness increases? And this is where we feel our app, Microland One app, has really helped us a lot. It has helped us smoothen this entire journey, because people really feel connected with their peers. That's just one aspect. And then, of course, we've all I think all of us have gone through the entire 22 yards of ensuring that we do employing engagement sessions, and we enable our people managers to sort of do the right thing. How do you do the 10% of the 70-20-10 of enabling your people managers, telling them, okay, this is our do's and don'ts, this is how you go about doing certain things. But from an employee perspective, keeping human-centric design, human centricity at the core of everything, and then making sure that everything revolves around that. What is it that the employee needs at the at a bare minimum, and what is it that the employee would be interested in, and then building the design of how the digital work comes into the digital world comes into play for this person, is something that we've really focused on. And I think that is something that has helped us a lot on the employee experience part.
Brilliant, Ashish. That is technology at its best, and of course, staying human or being human through the age of technology. Thank you for your thoughts on that. Vasudha, I now would like to hear your thoughts on Ford, especially being the industry it operates in, and maybe it was a kind of a mixed working model as well for a large part of the last year. So, what has been some of the very interesting initiatives at your organization, Vasudha, in terms of ensuring inclusion and belongingness?
Absolutely. I think Ashish, I really liked, you spoke about the one app, Microland One app that you spoke about, right? I think, the sense of belonging that was core at what we wanted to do at Ford as well. I mean, starting from our senior leaders, one thing which probably the tone that right from the CEO had said was, what is non-negotiable is care for each other, especially during these times. That's what been stressed. And in fact, that's a corporate objective as well for us. And this has been like consistently and very frequently communicated through all forums, right, global town halls or the kind of, connects that we've had. You really, made this escape for each other as almost as an anthem that we probably have to work towards, especially with newer employees coming in. How do we really create the sense of belonging? Somebody who has never seen that office, especially we have had a lot of college graduates joining. So I think technology, in terms of how we keep them together, in terms of the collaborative apps that we use, that's what has really really created that sense of belonging for our new employees and for our existing employees as well. And in terms of some of the policies that we have had in place, of course we did do a lot of COVID care support like many other organizations, be in terms of the vaccination support or COVID, whatever other things that we required during these testing times for our organization. That's been an employee experience that COVID has really been on the front to do that. And in terms of the framework of policies, we probably have always had that really employee friendly policies we've had in our place. We've really adapted with the COVID situation now in terms of like the flexibilities that people would have. For example, pretty much we've had things like sabbatical and all that since long. In terms of enhanced sabbatical for a short-term requirements, people who probably are either themselves have been unwell or it could be their family members or people who just are going through a lot of, maybe they're just going through a lot at this point in time. And if they really need that support, we've been able to offer some of these things we've learned and adapted, with this experience in the last 15 months. And also, as Ashish touched upon, what we've done a lot in terms of sensitizing our people leaders, right? Those are our front-ending leaders with the large workforce. So, in terms of how do we really get them to support our employees and during this point of time? In fact, that's and also a lot of sustained DI efforts. Also, we've brought into effect at this point in our time. For us, we really wanted that to be part of our culture rather than just react to the reaction to the pandemic. And that's what, as I said, care for each other is something that we really work towards.
Beautiful, beautiful, Vasudha. I think care is again another keyword that has kind of become so popular over the years, and for most of us, it has struck so close home. So, the fact that care, in fact, precedes all formats of inclusion. I think even conviction building in inclusion and diversity happens only if leadership cares, right? So that's very fundamental. So, beautiful thoughts there, Vasudha. I now move on to you, Santosh, to actually understand what has been some of the most innovative practices. And we're very eager to know, given, again, the very nuanced sector that you operate in, what has been some of those innovative practices that you have in terms of ensuring a great employee experience of inclusion?
Thank you. Thank you so much for this question. This is apt for the moment. We move to the virtual. What does employee engagement mean at all in this virtual world, right? And we are collectively learning how do we construct an engaging culture while remaining at home and wherever we are geographically. We may be in Hyderabad or any other city, right? So to us, two or three things. One primary thing is health and well-being of our workforce is the top priority. It continues to be the top priority. And from a benefits and employee policy standpoint, pretty much, I think all of us are doing our best right up to the vaccination, which pretty much is one of the big things which every company is doing, right? So that's the one big thing, so health and safety. Now, the key here when we talk about engagement is how do we drive a culture where we continue to be productive, at the same time manage our life situation. Now, is there a perfect 50-50 kind of a balance? No. Right? The life situations are evolving. We don't know what hits us in our personal context, but at the same time, we need to continue to have a meaningful, productive, engaging, challenging, work as well, and be in the game in the virtual world. So some of the initiatives, which I can take two or three examples, is hackathons. Hackathons have been a huge hit. As we speak, we are celebrating GapTech Innovation Day today. This is across all locations, Ohio, San Francisco, and Hyderabad. And this is a fantastic opportunity for the tech workforce, tech talent, because they love innovation. They're always continuously thinking of, hey, look, what next in terms of that space of making it happen and be creative, and then, create the disruption in terms of being super competitive. So innovation hackathons are the exciting ways to engage people, because it's close to their heart. It is engineering. It is what they do pretty much every day. That's one example. And there's a lot of participation. There's a lot of ideas. No idea is a bad idea, and it creates that bonding. It creates the challenge. It creates that healthy competition, etc. That's one. Secondly, surprisingly, we thought, hey, look, should we do it at all? Bring your kids to work. We used to do it, right? When we were in the physical space, we were in face to face. But you know what? We did it virtually. We involved the families. That was a fantastic hit. Seeing those little kids coming into the Zoom calls, team calls, singing and being part of the ecosystem, extended ecosystem of our company, was a surprisingly a fantastic hit. That's the second example I can take. And the rest of the things we continue to be doing, the festive occasions and all that. This month, actually, as a company, we are celebrating Pride Month. This is very close to our heart. In fact, Gap actually globally ranks in the top 5 in the D&I index from a Thomson Reuters and Bloomberg surveys. So Pride is a big opportunity for us. We want to go beyond just gender when we talk about inclusion. And Pride is all about awareness. It's all about sensitizing, empathy. What does it mean to be on the other side? And what is it that we should be doing? And one of the concepts we are driving as part of this is allyship, right? Being an ally, being a support, being understanding what the person is going through itself is a huge opportunity. And then we are driving that whole concept of allyship as part of our D&I initiative across the organization. And this month is a fantastic month to celebrate the Pride. And the month end, we have a bunch of things we are planning as part of the Pride celebrations. So these are the 2 or 3 powerful examples which I can call out.
That's splendid, Santosh. In fact, I think the streak of innovation was evident in all of those initiatives that you talked about, right? And that innovative twist that you gave to this whole experience of inclusion and belongingness, I'm sure it's something that has kind of helped create that a much better experience for your employees. So with that, I move on to the last question for this panel, along with your closing remarks. Like to hear from you. And we are gathered here for this job fair for women professionals. So what does this future of flexibility, future of probably hybrid models of working, what is the promise it holds for women? And Vasudha, I would like you to take the question first.
Okay, so yeah, thanks Anju for that question. I think in terms of possibilities for women, I think a lot more possibilities, a lot more opportunities will open up with us going in this flexible mode, with us exploring these hybrid and flexible working option. Recently at Ford, we launched this career program for women coming with a career break, returnship or reimagine, as we call it here at Ford. And some of the opportunities that we offer people coming with a career break is they can opt to be full time, they can opt to be part time, or even they can want to, if they want, they can come in as interns as well if they want to test waters. I think this is a win-win situation both for the organization and for the candidate who is coming back in terms of after a career break. And as we talked about earlier, right, a lot of organizations are looking at we're really re-looking at some of our flexible work policies, some of our remote work policies. I think maybe if there had been some inhibition earlier, if there had been some prejudices about people working part-time or working remote, probably all that myth has been really bursted at this point in time. And again, as I said, from organizations point of view as well, now mobility is no longer a challenge now, right? With us being a large part of the workforce being virtual, well. I know we've been able to tap into, I probably would say, high potential pools, especially in niche skills. I come from the world of analytics. Sometimes we, if it's in Chennai, my organization is in Chennai. Sometimes if we have struggled to really find the right talent in Chennai, but probably now with this kind of an opportunity, I would say people would be able to think about working outside of their, wherever their could be their location as well. And maybe, one probably thing that I would like to leave this audience with this. I think Ashish previously touched upon a vertical versus a horizontal, career path. In Ford, we call that as a ladder versus a lattice career path. I would really urge the audience gathered here today to really think about what that would mean for them. Probably it's going to be a mix of a ladder and a lattice for a while. Probably look at today, if there are some of the challenges that you have, probably how do you stay put in workforce, how do you really use these flexibilities that organizations are offering you, how do you really still stay updated with the technology. As I said, in the world of analytics, it's a knowledge world. How do you really stay updated in terms of the technology, even if you're working part-time, whatever, right? Job share, whatever it is, how do you really stay updated? And when probably you can go back full-time, how do you really look at that as a ladder? So a mix of a vertical versus a horizontal career path, I would strongly encourage people to think about those opportunities.
Great perspectives, Vasudha. I think the possibilities are immense. It's all about reimagining. I really like the title of the program that you have, kind of come up with. So beautiful thoughts there. Thank you so much for that. And Santosh, what are your perspectives? What do you think the possibilities are? And given that Gap seems to be so driven by innovation, right? So what do you think the possibilities are for women keen on pursuing careers, maybe after breaks, maybe they want to pivot and transition into other streams of career. So what do you think the possibilities are for the future, Santosh?
Yeah, I mean, great question. And there are immense possibilities. I think the conventional notions of, we all carrying our own biases and we continue to do a number of programs on unconscious bias and all of it. And there's so much of push to understand why there is a disinterest or lack of interest of women coming into STEM disciplines and all, right? So we have passed that stage, I would say. Honestly, pretty much we find women, if not equal, in fact, more than, having that same passion, same zeal, same, enthusiasm to do better in their careers. And one of the things we found is that they don't want to be treated as hey, we are different from men, and then we need some additional support or kind of thing. But they really like to be treated as equals. They want to have challenging work, stay productive, learn. And we see that there is a lot more investment in learning and development. We have what is called GapTech University. That is a global university, and that pivots on three things: technical learning, retail, which is a domain learning, and the leadership learning as well. And one of the conscious things we have done is that don't see career as a short-term sprint. See it as a marathon. Right? You don't know which opportunity comes your way over a period of time, and tech is changing so fast, so dynamic, so agile. And today we are talking cloud. Tomorrow we don't know what it will be in terms of AI, ML, and bunch of things. So investing in learning and development is our key differentiator and the value proposition for everyone. And we see women are phenomenally passionate about learning and development. And that actually it gives them enough opportunities within the organization to take on different roles. We talk about DevOps model. I'm sure you would have heard in the engineering space. And then in a DevOps, people get opportunities to move around in multiple roles and gain both the breadth and also the depth in terms of how the whole software development lifecycle is working. And that's the opportunity we are looking at when it comes to both men or women, and women have phenomenal opportunity to make a difference there.
Thank you, Mr. Santosh. I think it's very clear. It's upskilling and being kind of very intentional about learning and development that we women need to do. Very important point. And I now move over to Mr. Ashish. So, what are your thoughts on this? And I would request you to club your closing remarks as well to this remark because we need to close quickly. So, over to you, Mr. Ashish.
Sure, Anju. I'll be very short. So one of the things that we are seeing, and this is for the audience that would be listening to this to this panel discussion, almost every organization is really thinking about getting more diverse talent into the organization, right? And gender diversity is one of that. And there are conscious efforts through different working models, right? Work from anywhere, work for as per your time zone, work as per your working model requirements, right? So that's one area which is clearly happening, and that's a very positive news, for all the female aspirants who are thinking of coming back to a corporate world. The second thing is there's a huge surge in partnering with organizations like Avatar, for example, right? We in Micland, we've partnered with Avatar to enable our women employees to move to diverse their roles, right? To sensitize our broader population, to ensure that the decision making is a lot more inclusive. Santosh talked about the balance, right? How do you ensure that you maintain the right balance, right? Vasudha talked about the inclusivity of decision making, right? How do we enable women workforce to really grow up in the ladder, and how are they an integral part of whatever is done in the organization? So that's something which is happening, right? And the key message that I want to sort of leave it for the audience is that and there's a very common saying that your career is defined by where you invest time. If something is important to you, you will find out time for that. So if you want to really map out where you would want to be or where you can be, look at how you spent your last weekend. Were you able to take out time for upskilling yourself, or to do something, or make your CV, or do something, right? Is where how your career would actually be defined. If you're not able to time, maybe it's probably not so important for you right now. And if you consciously and deliberately start putting time, there are enough and more opportunities that are out there waiting for us, thanks to the pandemic, which is actually enabling these opportunities and ensuring that more and more talent can be absorbed into the corporate world. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ashish. That's some very practical advice that you have shared here. Look back to your weekend and decide what your future is going to be. So with that, thank you so much, panelists. It's been a fantastic session with all of you, Mr. Santosh, Ms. Vasudha, and Mr. Ashish. It's been a pleasure hosting this session with you. My dear women professionals, we wish you the very, very best in your pursuit of intentional careers. We wish you the very best in kind of following your purpose, your vision, and having very sustainable careers and lives in the future. Please take care, everyone. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.